بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله وكفى والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه أما بعد رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي ربي زدني علما والحقني بالصالحين سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم سبحانك لا فهم لنا إلا ما فهمتنا إنك أنت الجواد الكريم. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, Alhamdulillah, today we are going to be continuing this beautiful journey through the Holy Quran, through the voices of our beautiful Hufaz, that mashallah lead us in prayer. They enrich our heart with spirituality in the light of the Quran, and it becomes a source of hidayah, inshallah, for our lives and inshallah for our community. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for them, and we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the glorious Quran. Ameen Rabbil Alameen. So from the three quarters into the fourth juz, all the way to the end of the fifth juz today, inshallah, we will be covering almost the entirety of Surah Nisa. Surah Nisa is the chapter of the woman. Now, unfortunately, there is a lot of noise when it comes to creating chaos and disruption in our world today. And religion is being used as the tool to beat the drums of chaos. Unfortunately, the solution, which is very simple, has yet to be adopted by the masses. People are using religion to justify their actions. They're using religion to put down the people of that religion. They're using the text or the absence thereof to demonize the people. This has been ongoing for quite a while now. The solution is simple, my brothers and sisters. Learn the facts. Know your religion. Realize what Allah is saying and what the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ did and he exemplified for humanity. But for some strange reason, we don't want to know that. It has been it's been driven so hard and so deep into our society that even we begin doubting our authenticity and legitimacy. I met a brother on Monday who runs some organization in Washington, and how he is trying to discuss about Sharia to Congress up in Washington. We had a very cordial discussion, but at the end I realized this brother is just trying to wash down the religion, water it down as good as he can so it becomes appealing to the others. We don't have to water down our religion. We don't have to change our religion. Our religion is perfect as it is. The only problem is that we are ignorant of it. When we hear the chants and the call within the people of our own faith, when they say that Islam is violent, Islam advocates terrorism, Islam calls for the demonization and the disregard of women, our own Muslims are saying it in this day and age. This goes to show how much we have failed as a people. Ignorance has prevailed. Forget sanity. True spirituality is lost. Because there's nothing in our religion which is wrong. If there's something wrong, there's something wrong in either my comprehension of it, or number two, the actions of the people who say they are representatives of it. My Allah and my Quran and my Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is perfect. Perfect. So today we want to quickly reflect over some of the beautiful things of Surah An-Nisa. Let it be known that in the Holy Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed a chapter known as the women. Now we're not saying this because we want to pander to society and tell, hey, we love women, like it's part of our book. Like, we have a chapter named Mary, we love Jesus. We don't need to tell people that. We don't need to tell people anything, because they can still be friends with people who don't even believe in Jesus. Jesus isn't the defining factor of our friendship, our camaraderie, or our animosity. No. We all are different. Our faiths are different. Our ways are different. Our practices are different. But they are not differences that should divide us. But Surah Nisa is telling us something very important, not so that we flex our muscles to the world, but so that we as Muslims become true to our Islam once more. For 1400 years ago, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it clear in the Holy Quran that not only are women human beings, but they are equal to men in their creation. You have to understand history to understand what I just said. Because in Europe and in America, till the early 1900s or the late 1800s, women were not even classified as humans. Remember this. This is a fact. Open Encyclopedia Britannica, open your books of history and read. Allah saying in the Quran, read. Know your history, know your Quran, know your religion, know the world that you live in. Read. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it very clear that women are humans. That they will also have to strive for their Jannah just as men are striving for their Jannah. And the best way we can strive is as a union through marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about marriage in this surah. He talks about the permissibility of marriage. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about who you cannot marry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about what happens if marriage goes south, what to do. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also talks about inheritance. Now we don't have time to summarize all these things. But just understand a thing here. There once was a world where people had relationships with anyone at any given time. The concept of marriage was practically lost. In order to stop that vicious evil trend and to introduce what the religion wanted to be known. And alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, the people of the Quran who got it, the Arabs, stuck to it very clearly. And that was to know your nasab, to know your family tree. Who is your father and who is your mother? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala presented a solution called marriage. Yes, masna wa thulatha wa ruba'. Let me say one thing, brothers and sisters. I'm not here to stir controversy tonight. Your Quran and my Quran gives permission for up to 4 wives. But it's not a mandate. And the clause is, and I'm not going into this tonight, but please listen, hear me out, that if you can treat them equally across the board, then do so. If not, فَوَاحِدَةً, one. Now why am I saying this? Why am I opening a can of worms? Because when we say polygamy is a bad thing, polygamy is a wrong thing, polygamy is unlawful in any society or any given faith, na'udhu billah, we've done kufr of what Allah has said. It may not make sense to you and I right now. It may not make sense in our society or in our part of the world. You go to other parts of the world, it's perfectly fine, people do it. But I'm not here to cause any commotion or compare. But if it doesn't make sense to you, don't write it off. Don't challenge Allah's words when it doesn't make sense to you. Because remember, this Quran is universal to the Day of Judgment. There was a time when it was happening. There's a time where it's kind of not happening. There may be a time tomorrow for the need for it to happen again. The Quran is till the Day of Judgment. There are certain laws in our Quran and Hadith which don't apply right now, but they may apply some other time. So please, my humble request is, I'm not going into polygamy tonight, but I'm saying one thing. Don't ill speak about anything in your religion, even though you feel it doesn't mean anything to you. Don't talk bad about it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the surah also talks about inheritance. Let it be known until the early 1900s and even much later in Europe and also in America, a lady was put into the ownership of her master, not her husband, her master, and he would take everything from her. Her property, her possessions, her inheritance belonged to him. This is our history, our world's history. Islam said 1400 years ago that a woman has a right to her inheritance. If her father dies, her mother dies, her brother dies, anyone dies, she gets the inheritance. And for those who look at the calculation method proposed in the Holy Quran and say that a woman only gets half of what a man does, let me just clarify something. That's only in, I think, 5 scenarios. In more scenarios, she gets equal, and in some scenarios, she gets more than a man. If you haven't studied the ilm of mirath, the knowledge of inheritance, don't speak. But when the Quran says half, why does the Quran say half in regards to that? Because at that time, according to that calculation method, possibility is that she's not married, possibility is that she's dependent still on her father or a wali or maybe an elder brother. So if she gets $50 and he gets $100, her $50 belongs to her, solely her. His $100, he needs to make sure that he's taking care of her through it. Now people can say, and I understand the claim, are you saying women need someone to take care of them? No, I'm not. And history proves that Khadija radiallahu anha did not need anyone to take care of her. She was rich, she was affluent, she was successful. She didn't need anyone to take care of her. But marriage in Islam isn't that you need to take care of someone. This is the culture that we have created. Because Khadija radiallahu anha was independent, financially stable. She chose to go back into marriage. Why? Because she knew that marriage is more than just someone taking care of you. Companionship and having someone to lean on, someone to talk with, for that someone to talk to you, for you to make a greater impact in our world, and for you to give way for the next generation is what marriage is all about. Brothers and sisters, let's stop fantasizing that marriage is about a model or a hunk. It's not about that. It's about having children and continuing the ummah. There's no other way of looking at it. But we've lost that concept. Matter of fact, we're in a world today where people don't want to get married. They don't want to have children. They'd rather have a chihuahua, but they're not going to have a child. I ask of you, what is going to happen to this world? Go home tonight and Google what's happening in Japan. The population is in a sharp decline. Why? They're not having children anymore. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us marriage is important. Allah is laying the foundation and framework of marriage, where if she gets money from her parents or from her relatives, it's solely her wealth. She does not need to give her husband from the wealth that she's inherited. This was said at a time when the world, for much after, didn't believe that a woman should own her own money. And please let me know if I'm wrong. I believe it was 1970 when a woman in this country had the permission to open her own bank account or obtain her own checkbook. It wasn't too long ago. So moving back, women equal to khalq, talked about inheritance. Also, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made clear who you don't marry. حُرِّمَتْ عَلَيْكُمْ أُمَّهَاتُكُمْ وَبَنَاتُكُمْ وَأَخَوَاتُكُمْ وَعَمَّاتُكُمْ. Let me just say the 4, the 3. Your mothers are haram on you. Your daughters are haram on you. Your sibling, your sister's haram on you. Now you must be saying, why is Allah talking about this? Because it's common sense. Who would sleep with their mother? Who would sleep with their sister or their daughter? The days of ignorance are repeating themselves in our world today. This is not only being advocated, it's being promoted as normal. O Allah, we seek your protection from the evil days. We seek your protection from the dark times. O Allah, we seek your protection from an era where evil is looked upon as virtuous and righteousness is looked upon as wickedness. Say Ameen. This is the world we're coming to. I'm talking about this to many of my interfaith partners. For the last 12 years in Germany, they've been trying to pass a law to make incest legal. And I stand here today telling you that within the next decade, pedophilia will become legal. This is the world we're living in. Welcome. But don't talk about it. It's shameful. It's immoral. Just sit down and pray. Don't do anything. The world will get better. If that was the case, Muhammad ﷺ should have stayed in the cave of Hira and prayed to Allah. But he came down after Jibreel ﷺ held him and squeezed him, because his prescription was, if Allah is giving you goodness, you need to go give it to the world. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you a way, you need to show it to the world. If Allah has granted you a solution for the predicaments of our society, you need to present it to our society. Why are we as Muslims hiding? It baffles me. It's mind-boggling to me. And I've kind of given up even thinking about it because I get a headache. Brothers and sisters, restore marriage in our ummah. Simplify it for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All this cultural trash of 5-6-figure mahar and inviting the whole world and putting on big, show and a display and a party just to show people, let it go. Because our teenagers are saying today, we don't want to get married. And when you don't allow marriage to continue, which is half of your deen is marriage. Where is our ummah going to go, brothers and sisters? We are lost. We are at a failure. May Allah forgive all of us. Ameen. Now, marriage isn't simple. Marriage is difficult. We all know that. Because if it was easy, then paradise would be easy. If paradise was that easy, then what's the use of this test on this earth? It's hard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in verse number 35 to mediate our problems. Marriage needs healthy communication. In the absence of healthy communication, problems will arise and cause conflict. When conflicts occur, then there's going to be a need of mediation. When there is no mediation, then marriages collapse. When marriages collapse, families suffer. When families suffer, kids don't want to get married. When kids don't want to get married, the continuation of our society and our values and our morals and ethics go out of the window. Inshallah, this month I will be presenting to you as your Imam, as someone who's accountable to this community, what I've been doing in the last 36 weeks here in this masjid. Alhamdulillah, every single thing I do in this masjid, for this masjid, through this masjid is logged. Every hour, every text message, every email, every phone call. Every counseling that I've conducted, over 170 of them, what those counseling were in regards to, I'll be presenting to you without names, without details. So you and I realize that one of the biggest problems in our DFW area is the collapse of marriage. It's a wake-up call, brothers and sisters, and Surah Nisa is teaching us. Fix your problems. Running away isn't the solution. Facing your problems, owning up to your faults and mistakes, and bettering the situation is what our Islam calls for. In verse number 92 and 93, I'll end with this. We have a rise of extremist radical elements that are infiltrating our children. ISIS is real. Their influence is strong. Their propaganda is powerful. and they are pulling the children away left and right. I want you all to remember one thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala makes it very clear in the Quran that killing is not acceptable. And when it comes to killing even your own people, وَمَنْ يَقْتُلْ مُؤْمِنًا مُتَعَمِّدًا فَجَزَاؤُهُ جَهَنَّمُ خَالِدًا فِيهَا. Whoever kills a believer on purpose is in hellfire for eternity. Teach your children tonight, because when they're on social media, chances are someone's going to catch them. You're like a fish in a pond, and there are many hooks trying to catch you. So never feel that this is not going to happen in my home. It has happened in many homes in America already. There is no 72 virgins. There is no Jannah by Allah when you kill people. We woke up this morning with a bombing at the Sufi shrine in Lahore, Pakistan. I remember that place because I used to see it when I used to go to downtown Lahore for food. We are killing people in the name of Allah. We are killing each other in the name of Allah. There is no legitimacy of such in any holy text. If we do not capitalize on the terminologies of jihad and qital, they are doing it for us. Jihad doesn't mean to go in a holy month and blow up a church or a mosque, or kill people because you feel your God is better than their God, or your book is more legitimate than their book. We need to start having these conversations. Silence does not solve anything. Silence gives way for the problem and the virus to infiltrate us all. So, tonight in Surah Nisa, we'll be talking about the honor and prestige Allah has given to our women. And we will ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to restore that goodness in our societies, in our cultures, in our communities, and in our homes. We are going to ensure that we are the beacons of hope. We are the example to the world of what women can do because what Islam gave them. When we have problems, we will mediate our problems because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if they want good, Allah will bring forth good. We understand marriage is sacred and it's something that cannot be violated, and there are people who we can marry and there are people who we cannot marry, and that's simply stated in the Quran. We need to remind people before people forget. And last but not least, murdering anyone in the name of Allah, especially when you're not in a battlefield where someone is coming to attack you and your people, to take over your homes and burn it down, and to kill your families, we as Muslims do not advocate. We do not advocate for war or killing. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide all of us. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala purify our hearts. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala open our eyes to see the call of the moment. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to exemplify goodness in the moments of darkness. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow us to hold the steering wheel of this world and take it to a better place. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala restore the sanctity and importance of marriage in our communities and in our homes and in our nation, where marriage is not just an act, but it is a religious act, and that it is a simple act, and that through this blessed union, goodness prevails in our society. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. Jazakumullah khairan.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar, Allah.